Hello everyone, this is Arcanines, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to beat Surf in MG-all-in-one velocity. Now, first I'm going to talk a little bit about this Surf. It is extremely difficult. Now, this tutorial can only teach you so much. Most of what I'm going to tell you here has to do with tactics, approach, how to go through these areas. Now, this is in no way a substitute for skill. You're going to have practice and patience to beat this map no matter what. It is extremely difficult, and practice makes perfect. All I can say is I want to help you as much as I can, but you have to do most of it, and there's only so much I can do for you. Now, to go over another thing is you need to know how to airstrafe. If you don't know how to do that, this video is not the one to teach you. The basics are using your A and D keys and turning your mouse. Like, you want smooth turns. You just want smoothness, steady, smooth turns. And this is what a basic left airstrafe looks like at the end of this ramp. It's just going to be a nice smooth curve. Now, a basic right airstrafe would be the same but opposite side. You're just going to want a nice smooth curve. Now, you can change the speed of the turn of your mouse depending on what you're going around. Like, down there, we're going to be turning a heck of a lot faster than that. We're coming around corners. We just want a smooth, crisp turn. Now, to start with, we have basic surf ramp. It's nice and smooth. Smooth curves are a little bit rare. Now, there are a few spots you can get stuck. That's just life. You're gonna have to deal with it because it's kind of random. It's bad luck whenever it happens. The approach for this surf does not matter at all. You can come from high up here, like this, across that first gap, or you can come down low and up at the end, but really it doesn't matter because that bunny hop on the second ledge is what keeps your speed, and there is a small difference in speed, but it doesn't matter. Alright, that was a good one. That was nice and smooth, which is one of the most important things to do, is keep your mouse turns crisp and smooth. It's the same width all the way across. There's no wide spot somehow to make it a lot easier. Now, what you're going to do is, as you notice in the demonstration, there is a decent height gap between these. I mean, you gotta spend some time in this little area between these two walls so that you fall enough to hit this. Now, if you just go straight through, you're gonna hit this wall. So what we do is we make a little bit of an S curve. So as you saw coming off that ramp, we go a little bit to the left here. Now, you can change this depending on how you want it. It doesn't really make much difference. So you can come in anywhere from here to here. The width of the curve, the circumference of the curve is going to vary depending on these two, where you come in. So for instance, if you go through here, you got to curve to the right. Well, you could curve to the left, but I don't do that. I always curve to the right. So if I came through at the middle, then I would curve to the right and land about in this area. I would bunny hop off this right here. But if you come over to the left and make your curve really wide, then you're gonna end up about between there and there, somewhere in closer to the middle. And it really doesn't make much difference. It's a personal preference, almost entirely a personal preference. Whatever you practice, then that will work for you. I personally like going on this edge because it allows me to come a little bit wider into this turnaround. You've got to make a rapid turnaround left strafe or a right strafe. If you're gonna be a right side surfer, well, a left side surfer using a right strafe, then just reverse everything I'm doing. I'm just gonna continue teaching left strafe. This is the most important trick of this surf multi-game, because of the way you retain speed coming into a surf ramp. Now, if you start here, if you bunny hop here instead, then you're going to be going straight. You've got to either swing out to make that smooth long curve, or you make a rapid curve right here. It's like just complete 180, and I find that difficult to place myself. I almost always hit the triangular face of that surf ramp when I do it. Now, from the bottom side, this is what it looks like. What you're going to have to do on this surf ramp is get a perfect transfer, and that is the most important part of this whole surf multi-game, mini-game. Now, there are three ways to mess this up. One is hit the edge almost perfectly, like just barely miss it, because what happens is you lose most of your speed. I might say half of your speed if you just brush it, and you'll still continue surfing. You will notice it, but it's not entirely it's not like you stop dead or anything like that. The second thing is, if you hit the edge just right, like it's a little bit more to the inside than if you had just brushed it and slowed down. What happens is you hear the fall damage sound. You can't take fall damage in this map, so don't worry about that. But you hear the fall damage sound and you just bounce off, and you can't salvage it from there. It's just over. The third thing, well, the third thing that could go wrong, not including just hitting the triangular face, I'm not counting that. The third thing that can go wrong is you get too far forward. And this is moderately salvageable because you can make a slight change using your left strafe and then hit your right strafe right as you curve and hit this surf ramp. But it is very difficult to get that one smooth. And if you do, you still won't have enough speed half the time at least. So what you want is a perfect transfer. You want to hit right. The best place is right on that gray, where that gray meets the blue glass. But there's probably a little bit of room for variables. I'd say at least maybe, I don't know, a couple of feet in the game, of course. And the closer to the top, the better. If you land here, you're going to want to swing down and come up at this part. If you land, you just basically want to swing down and come up no matter what you do. And the reason for wanting to hit it high is it's very difficult to swing down when you're already at the bottom. And another thing, if you're literally at the bottom, if you're on this gray, it's very hard to distinguish it from the background. See, when I turn my flashlight off, it's very hard to see the difference between this and this. So the perfect place is to hit it high, get low, and use this gray line as a guide. You don't want to go off the ramp. You just want to stay low and then come off of this ramp. Now your launch, I would say practice it. The best angle is 45 degrees because you keep the most distance and the most speed. But if you have the transfer down right, if you've got the good transfer, then you don't have to worry much about the angle. As long as you keep it logically in range of the right amount, then you shouldn't have a problem if you've got the speed. Now, if you don't have the speed, there it's still possible to make it. It makes it a lot more difficult. You're gonna have to hit this angle right. You're gonna have to hit these. You're gonna have to make these turns, these airstrafes around these poles, really crisp, and that's pretty difficult. It can be done, and if you don't have enough speed, you're probably gonna fall short. If you're just barely on the edge of having enough speed, then just takes practice. You've got to practice that. Now, there is the opposite extreme. If you get a perfect transfer and you make these crisp turns and airstrafes perfectly, you can overjump this by a fair amount actually. Now what you want to do in that case is swing around wide, like to about here, or you can either swing wide here and come around wide there, like that, because normally you're going to want to hit this curve just barely avoiding the wall. So that way you can use your right air strafe to uh, to negate some of your distance. Whereas if you just come straight, you travel less distance. And if you go around wide, then you've got a lot more distance covered. And then if you come wide, you're gonna have to left strafe and make a good entry into this next section. The next section, you'll have plenty of speed. If you made it through that circle without hitting the edges, if you hit the edges, then your run is over because you have not enough speed. But if you made that circle without hitting the edges, then you've got plenty of speed for this next part. And the most important part for this is more approach. This part takes less skill than the last two parts, in my opinion. Now, you may find this much harder than I did, but for me, these first two sections were much more difficult than this third section. Now, same principle applies. It doesn't matter on this one how high you hit it, but you want to swing low. No matter what, you want to swing low. You want to use this line between the glass and the gray part. You want to use that as a guideline. And at the end here, you're going to want to bring it up, cut off this corner. You want to bring it up about, I would say like a couple of crosshairs lengths, maybe 3 crosshairs lengths, maybe 4. And this is going to take practice for you. You're going to have to practice this a lot because you want to get as close to this as you can. I would call it a head basher, but wall as you can without hitting it. If you're on the left side of the surf, you're going to either turn left or right. That's just the way I do it. And then you're going to come around and you're going to want to turn left again. So you're going to turn a complete circle in that area there. Now, if you've got this part, it really isn't that difficult, but if you have just enough height to make it over this, you use most of it as speed, because the two things you can get from a exit off of a surf ramp are height and speed, and the more height you have, the less speed you'll get. The more speed you'll have, the less height you'll get. If you come low and stay low, it makes it very difficult because you're probably not going to have enough height to get over this barrier. And if you do, you may not have enough height to get to the end right there. But if by some chance you do, you're going to have to swing a lot bigger of a circle in this area because you're going to rise a lot more slowly and you're going to have to give time, stay in this area, more time to give yourself that chance to rise. If, on the other hand, you have too much height, which is a very rare occurrence because of this head basher, it just makes it very difficult to get too much height. You want as much height as you can. So this is more of a guideline for other surf maps because it's not not a problem at all in this map. But if you have too much height, you're going to want to make that curve, that I'm going to call it a curlicue because that's what it is. You're going to want to make that a lot faster so that you can get over in time before you hit the ceiling on this hypothetical other map. And there you have it. Here are a couple of full screen completions. I hope you enjoyed the video. I think I rambled on a little bit, but that's alright. It's, again, a very difficult map. I wish you good luck and have fun.